Chichi Marie Entertainment News Podcast, the latest and greatest in urban media. This is where you can get your black tea with a dash of vanilla here and there, of course. I will also be covering current events, letting you know what's going on in the world locally and globally as well. So continue to stay tuned. Please subscribe, like, and share if you care. Chichi Marie Entertainment News. All right, guys. So I want to kick things off with talking about Normani. This is back in August the 25th. Normani was speaking out after not being asked to perform at the VMAs. A lot of us found that to be atrocious. I mean, come on. She had just dropped her single Wild Side with featuring Cardi B. And I mean, like, why would you not have one of the best performers of our generation perform? I'm one of those Normani fans. I don't know what you call us. I know there's the Navy for Rihanna, and there's Hotties for Meg Thee Stallion, but I don't know what you call us. We just like her, okay? So I'm a Normani fan. I know she's repping Houston, Texas hard too. And it's just ridiculous. I don't understand the snubbing of it all. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes in Hollywood, but I just wanted to go ahead and cover that portion first. So let's go ahead and read this article. It is coming up from the sources wrapup.com. Despite calls from fans, the singer would not be taking the stage at the 2021 MTV Video Music Awards coming next month, which I believe is this month now. And it said she had said originally, obviously she's disappointed about it this last week. She's just been in her head a lot. She knows everything happens for a reason. With or without it, she's good, is what she said. But let's go ahead and fast forward to today. I don't know about you guys, but I was so excited to hear this. Normani is set to perform at the 2021 MTV VMAs. The 2021 Video Music Awards take place this Sunday, September the 12th in Brooklyn, New York. Hey, where's Brooklyn at? You guys, I haven't been excited for a VMAs in a long time. When I was a little girl, as many of you know, I have a singing and performing background. As of lately, I decided to focus more on the musical theater side and performance side, doing things like the national anthem, little things like that. Nothing big. But I have always known at a very young age that I wanted to be a performer, and I used to host little kiddie parties with my friends that I grew up with, rest in heaven Natalie, and we would set time aside to watch these VMAs, to see our favorite performers, the Whitney Houstons, the Mariah Careys of them all. I mean, I was obsessed with all of this all the way up until I want to say the past maybe 5 to 10 years. I kind of cooled off on it a little bit, but I would watch the replays and the clippings. So now that Normani is set to hit the stage, I am very excited. This lineup actually includes people. It actually includes her fellow past bandmate Camila Cabello will be there. Doja Cat is hosting. That's another exciting turn of events. I'm a Doja fan. Definitely excited to see how she does that. Hopefully she gets to perform as well. She has been killing the scene lately. Casey Musgraves, Olivia Rodrigo. I know she's a fan favorite for the younger ones. I think one of my daughters, or both of them like her. Justin Bieber, Ozuna. Okay, I like Ozuna as well. Shawn Mendes, the Foo Fighters. Okay, Foo Fighters is coming back, and Jack Harlow. So it looks like, just to recap, they're letting us know that Normani performed her debut solo single, Motivation, in 2019 at the MTV VMAs that year, and she also won Best R&B record for that. Her collaboration for the song called Waves. So her most recent single that I mentioned earlier is Wild Side. She dropped that in July. Sean Bankhead, of course, did the choreography. My goodness, he's been doing everybody's choreography, so I'm so excited to see what they do with this performance. I know she's gonna kill it. They're gonna regret not having her on the roster to begin with. So that is our Normani tea. Now on to some somber news. Want to go ahead and discuss Michael K. Williams. Let me go ahead and open up this. He was an American actor. This article that I'm looking at, it's covering it's just really sad to discuss anything like this. Unfortunately, he did pass away. They believe it was an accidental overdose. Fentanyl is sweeping the nation, unfortunately. A lot of people are passing away accidentally. I know that Little Peep, I recently watched a documentary on him after rewatching a documentary or an interview that Drake did, and he mentioned how it just really captivated him, the end of Little Peep's life, and it made me want to go and revisit, his artistry and where he came from and why he was just so down. There's a part of me that connects to that. I won't say that I'm a sad person, but I do understand it, and I understand connecting to that emotion when you're listening to that kind of music. So send our condolences to those who have lost people to fentanyl. I actually have a friend of mine that I met when I was in Key West, a beautiful soul. I know she is a big advocate against spreading awareness for fentanyl and, maybe having harsher punishments for those that are dealing it or putting it into substances that people are unaware of. I don't think Michael K. Williams knew that he was going to pass when he did. And so I just wanted to, definitely bring that up and send our condolences there. Speaking of harsher punishments to those that are dealing fentanyl, unfortunately, it looks like the president that we have sitting in office looks like good old Sleepy Joe. Doesn't think that there are harsher or harsh enough punishments for those that are dealing fentanyl. From what I'm learning, or the headlines that came across me recently, was he was making it Schedule 1. It doesn't look like he's taking it seriously at all. If anything, they are trying to they're trying to make it a little bit easier. So let me open up this article right now. It says a little notice law could make it easier to punish people for low-level drug crimes and put them in prison for longer with less proof. So it says Biden could have taken the war on drugs down a notch, but he didn't. So I'm reading this. It says last month, President Biden quietly extended a policy that critics call a betrayal of his campaign to promise to end mandatory minimum sentences. The new law concerns class-wide scheduling of fentanyl and analogs. It may sound like a wonky snooze fest, but the measure could land more low-level drug dealers in prison for longer with less proof than is usually required, while kingpins and chemists who manufacture and distribute these new drugs don't tend to get caught. So, it doesn't look like they're really focusing on what's going on here. Obviously, the people that are manufacturing it are not going to be caught. There are people that, I know Lovely T is someone who has some health issues, so she finds herself in and out of the hospital. And when she is in the hospital and they're taking care of her, they do give her fentanyl. And she was saying how it's very strong, how you can pass out, it's like she passes out as soon as it hits her bloodstream, and how it being out here for those two, for people to take, it's just really scary. So here's an article that I really wanted us, and I'll if you're watching this or listening to this on YouTube, you'll get to see some of these headlines because I'll put some of the screenshots in here. But White House proposes removing penalties for fentanyl trafficking related offenses. This was published September the 2nd. The White House on Thursday proposed removing certain penalties associated with trafficking of fentanyl related substances. Can we say this word? Fentanyl related substances. President Biden and former President Trump temporarily placed FRS under Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. Thursday's proposal would make that change permanent while removing certain quantity-based mandatory minimums. Do you guys hear what's going on here? So I guess people aren't dying fast enough. I don't understand what is going on. You would think that most people in leadership would go the opposite direction of what Biden is doing. Instead of making things tougher, instead of making this, having a stance saying, hey, we are so against this, they're making it easier on them. I don't know. My tin hat is tingling. I'm going to leave it at that. I might have to have a separate podcast for those that are on my Spotify listening. Maybe you'll get to hear how I really feel, because my tin hat is tingling, baby. It is tingling. So this is just ridiculous, if you ask me. I don't even know, but I just wanted to segue into that because Michael K. Williams was not the only person that recently passed away. There were 3 up-and-coming comedians. I think one was a little bit more established. I don't want to do them like that. Let me go ahead and pull up because I know one is in critical condition. Okay. So I know one is in critical condition right now. So it's Fuquan Johnson. That name is actually very familiar. I do remember his face now that I'm pulling him up. And again, this information is going to be from USA Today. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see some of the screenshots. But Fuquan Johnson was among the 3 people who died of a suspected overdose at a Los Angeles party, authorities said on Monday. 3 people were declared dead at the scene in the Venice neighborhood early Saturday morning, and a 4th person was taken to a hospital in critical condition. LAPD officer Michael Lopez said the dead were amongst those that passed away was 43-year-old of Los Angeles, Enrico Colangeli, 48 of Medford, Massachusetts, and Natalie Williamson, 33 of Los Angeles. And that is what the coroner's office said. A preliminary investigation found that the 3 died from an overdose. Lopez said the coroner will determine and release the official cause of death after autopsies are performed. Authorities would not identify the person hospitalized. Johnson had been a popular regular for years at Southern California comedy clubs and wrote for the online show Comedy Parlor Live Quarantine Edition. Fellow comedians were paying tribute to him on social media as word spread of his death. Your energy would light up a room, Damian Dante Williams wrote on Instagram. Everybody loved Fu. So that is so sad. So here we are with, usually whenever celebrities are passing away from things like this, you would think that the government would step in and make things harsher, but that does not seem to be the case. They want things to be easier. I guess they feel like, hey, you people are not dying fast enough, so let's, kick things up a notch. That's very, very strange, very odd. I don't know what to say or think about this. Again, my condolences. I think that we all need to just take matters into our own hands. And unless you are the person creating a substance, don't take it. I know there's people out there that like to pop XO, they like to pop their Molly, they like their perks, whatever the case may be. You don't know where you're getting this stuff, man. You're really playing Russian roulette right now. I have never in my life heard of people wanting to, isn't cocaine as an upper, right? So why are they putting fentanyl, from what I'm hearing, knocks people the F out? So why would you put something in there that knocks you smooth out and an upper like cocaine? So it's not even making sense. It's seeming very evil to me. I don't know if they're trying to wipe people out on purpose, or if people are just really don't know what they're cutting stuff with. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I'm not getting nothing in my system unless it's my green tea from Starbucks. Okay. So honestly, all jokes aside, be careful. It's not worth it. Get you some tequila and some Red Bull. Or green tea from Starbucks and call it a day. All right, so now let's move on to Tupac news. It looks like the 1996 BMW 750 that Tupac Shakur was shot and killed in September 7th, 1996 is now for sale in Las Vegas. It is going for $1.75 million. Now, when you hear the date, September 7th, 1996, how old were you at that time? Just think about it. Think, how old were you in 1996? For me, I can't believe how old I was. I was just a little baby. What was I doing being so obsessed with Tupac at that age? 1996. Okay, let's subtract it from when I was born, or the year I was born. Oh, that makes sense. I was 12. So 12 years old makes sense to be, like a fanatic. I will say Tupac is not a character, but an artist that captivated me. So 12 years old, yeah, it makes sense that I was like, oh my God, Tupac's dead. It was triggering for me. So Tupac, Bone Thugs, those were some of my favorites back then. What was it? Was I a little dark? Biggie was another. I loved Biggie, but I liked Biggie because even though he had some gutter lyrics, but he was very lively. He had very bright and happy-go-lucky type of sound, music videos and sound. But of course, if you listen to his other stuff, it was gritty, baby. So anyways, that is interesting. Who do you think is going to spend $2 million on this BMW? Do you think it's going to be a collector? It's going to go into a museum? Who benefits from this money? Where has the car been the whole time? I have questions. I have lots of questions. You guys, this is crazy. So it looks like police arrest suspects accused of stealing identities of victims who died in South Florida condo collapse. So shortly after, I actually went to Miami. I think it was the same month. It was like right after we left, maybe a week later, a condo had collapsed out there in Florida, in South Florida. So authorities were first notified of fraudulent activity when the sister of one of the deceased victims contacted the officers. The sister had noticed password changes to the victim's bank accounts and credit cards, as well as new addresses and contact information. The group was reportedly using a series of drop locations. The group managed to steal about $45,000 through illegal cash transfers and by going on shopping sprees at high-end stores with fraudulently obtained credit and debit cards. Investigators said security workers at banks and realtors managed to stop another $65,000 in fraudulent activity. Wow. I don't even understand. Why do y'all even bother? Huh? This is the part I don't understand. Why do criminals bother? Because you're going to be caught. Most of you are not bright enough to do your dirt and leave for good, or do your dirt and do it in a way to where you will not be caught. So I really don't understand it. But let's see. Let's get some audio from the actual news clip.
Crew stole the identities of 7 that targeted the victims of the Surfside collapse. Prosecutors say this crew stole the identities of 7 Surfside victims and then went on expensive shopping sprees.
And we told you about the arrests exclusively first on 10 tonight. And now Local 10 News reporter Ian Margol is live with the disturbing details. Ian.
These 3 people are accused of taking advantage of one of the worst situations, one of the worst disasters South Florida has seen in recent history.
Cyber grave robbers did move very quickly after the collapse to grab what they could from deceased victims.
3 people are now in custody, accused of stealing the identities of victims in the Champlain Tower South collapse and spending thousands of dollars of their money. 30-year-old Betsy Alejandra Cacho Medina, 38-year-old Rodney Shote, and 34-year-old Kimberly Michelle
that targeted the victim.
Cacho Medina, 38-year-old Rodney Shote, and 34-year-old Kimberly Michelle Johnson are facing felony charges after authorities say they took out credit and debit cards in the names of at least 7 Surfside victims.
Yes, because I was a victim of the towers that just collapsed, the Surfside.
That, we're told, was Medina on the phone with a credit card company pretending to be one of the victims. This is also allegedly her in this surveillance video holding a Versace purse she bought with those stolen cards and using the cards to buy even more items. Authorities say this is a group of pros who knew exactly what they were doing. Apparently, they'd have the cards sent to a vacant address where they'd use fake IDs and social security cards to rent empty apartments just for their mailboxes.
Nothing about them is real. Their IDs, their cars, their residences, nothing is legitimate.
Now the trio is behind bars, taken into custody Wednesday after Sarah Cacho Medina, 38-year-old enforcement agencies spent months tracking them down.
Today was the day. Today they got what they deserved, and we're all much happier for it.
So again, they are calling this trio pros. They say they knew exactly what they were doing, and in addition to the 7 people who were related to that Champlain Towers collapse who had their identity stolen, they say there were 2 more victims they've already found who were unrelated to that collapse. If convicted, they could face anywhere from 15 to 30 years maximum in prison.
All right, guys, that wraps things up. I will be bringing out another podcast. My next episode will be more focused on the Drake-Kanye beef with a little bit of news that surrounds all things Drake and Kanye. Again, this is Chichi Marie News Entertainment Podcast. Thanks for joining, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.